She thought she was just catching another train. Nothing unusual, just another day. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. A frail old man stumbled in front of her, desperate for help. She reached out without hesitation, never imagining that this single act of kindness would cost her the train, and set her on a path she could never have predicted. What followed wasn't just a delay, it was a collision with the harsh reality of racism, injustice, and fate itself. Could missing that train really change the entire course of her life? It was supposed to be a simple morning. Maya, a hard-working young woman juggling 2 jobs, hurried through the crowded station, her bag pressed tightly to her side. She had taken this same route countless times, timing every step to avoid missing her train. For her, punctuality wasn't just a habit, it was survival. In a world that judged her more harshly because of her skin, being late meant risking her job, her reputation, and sometimes even her dignity. But that day, something felt different. The air was heavy, the platform unusually tense, as if the world itself was holding its breath. She didn't know it yet, but one unexpected choice was about to pull her off her carefully planned track. And once the moment passed, there would be no turning back. Maya never thought twice about helping the old man. She steadied his shaking hands, gathered the papers he had dropped, and made sure he was safe on the bench. But when she turned back toward the platform, the whistle had already blown. The train doors slid shut, pulling away in a blur of steel and sound. Her stomach sank. That was her train, the one she relied on to get her to work on time. She told herself it was fine, that another would come. But deep inside, she knew her boss had no tolerance for excuses. And for a black woman like her, excuses weren't just frowned upon. They were branded as weakness, irresponsibility, or worse. The next train finally arrived, more crowded than usual. As Maya squeezed inside, she felt the weight of eyes on her. A man clutched his briefcase closer, shifting his body as if her presence alone was a threat. A woman pulled her child to the side, whispering under her breath. No words were said aloud, but the silence screamed what they thought of her. When the train jolted forward, Maya's mind spun. Would she make it in time? Would today be the day her job slipped away because someone saw her color before her effort? By the time she reached her stop, she was already breathless, pushing her way through the city streets. But fate wasn't done testing her. At the office doors, she was met not with understanding, but with suspicion. The security guard, someone who had seen her every morning for the past year, suddenly demanded her ID, his voice sharp, his eyes narrowing as if she were a stranger trespassing. The minutes ticked by as he scrutinized the card, pretending to confirm what he already knew. Around her, people streamed inside freely, flashing quick smiles, offering casual greetings. Maya stood frozen, invisible yet exposed, her lateness stretching longer with each passing second. Finally, he let her through, but the damage was done. Upstairs, her manager glanced at the clock before glancing at her, his lips pressed into a thin line. No acknowledgement of the reason she was late. No space for the truth that kindness had cost her time. Only disappointment veiled in that cold stare. Maya tried to bury the sting and get to work, but whispers followed her. Unreliable. Always late. Words she wasn't supposed to hear, but words that echoed all the same. Her chest tightened. She wanted to shout the truth, that she had chosen humanity over convenience, that she had done what any decent person should have done. But in this place, truth didn't matter. Perception did. And yet deep down, Maya sensed this day was far from over. Something about the way her manager avoided her eyes, the way her co-workers exchanged glances, told her the story had only begun. What she didn't know was that the chain of events set in motion by missing that train would drag her into a reality darker than she ever imagined. The breaking point came without warning. That afternoon, as Maya quietly sorted through her files, a sudden commotion erupted in the office. A wallet had gone missing. Whispers spread like wildfire, darting through cubicles, bouncing off walls, carried by voices that didn't dare speak too loudly, but wanted her to hear. All eyes turned, slowly, deliberately, toward her. The late one. The different one. The one who didn't belong. Her heart pounded as her manager approached, his tone cold and rehearsed. "Maya, can you step into my office?" It wasn't a request. It was an accusation wrapped in politeness. Behind closed doors, the questions came sharp and heavy. Where had she been when the wallet disappeared? Did she see anyone suspicious? Did she have anything she wanted to admit? The words weren't about truth. They were about pressure, about forcing her into the role they had already written for her. She wanted to scream, to remind them that she had been late only because she had chosen to help someone in need, that she had walked into this building every day with dignity, with loyalty, with hope. But none of that mattered now. In their eyes, the math was simple: black, late, and present when something went missing. The silence in that room was suffocating. Her palms were damp, her chest tight. She realized in that instant that she wasn't fighting for a wallet. She was fighting for her name, her worth, her very right to exist without suspicion. And then, the crushing blow, the manager hinted that if she couldn't clarify her role in all this, her position at the company would be reconsidered. Not evidence, not facts, just a quiet threat heavy as a gavel. Maya walked out of that office trembling, the stares of her co-workers slicing into her skin. She had done nothing wrong. Yet the walls were closing in, and the world was ready to mark her guilty without proof. For the first time, she wondered if missing that train hadn't just cost her time. Maybe it had cost her everything. Maya left the office that day carrying more than just the weight of suspicion. She carried the crushing reminder of how quickly kindness could be twisted into weakness, and how easily her skin became the evidence against her. The wallet was eventually found, tucked between two desks where it had slipped unnoticed. No apology came her way. No acknowledgement of the glares, the whispers, the unspoken verdict that had already been passed. Instead, her innocence was treated like a forgotten detail, brushed aside as if her humiliation never happened. But Maya never forgot. That single day, missing the train, helping a stranger, being branded guilty without proof, etched itself into her memory. It became the moment she realized the invisible burden she carried wasn't hers alone. It was the burden millions before her had carried, and millions still do today. The burden of having to prove humanity in a world that questions it at every turn. And yet, out of the pain came clarity. Maya chose not to shrink beneath the weight of injustice, but to speak about it, to share her story, to remind others that silence only fuels the cycle. Her act of kindness had set off a storm of cruelty, but it also lit a fire inside her, a fire that would not be extinguished. Because this story isn't just about Maya. It's about every person who has been doubted, demeaned, or dismissed because of the color of their skin. It's about the countless moments that never make headlines, the quiet injustices that pile up until they break someone's spirit. So, the question remains, how many more stories like Maya's will it take before we stop asking people to prove their worth and start seeing them for who they truly are?